I'm working with Saikat Das on this venture of ours, which is the Early Birds Club. We started this as a small idea. So I am basically from academics background. I am right now working with education industry as an education officer, and I take care of all the CBSE schools with new projects. And I'm currently heading the entire area of Delhi. So day in and day out, I have a lot of meeting with many educationalists who talk about the changing trends in education and the market scenarios. So a thought came to my mind a very fine day that what can we do to create a better network or better channel of mentors and aspirational people who look forward to a certain career path, but the ground reality is very different when they enter it. So there are people like you who had started their own small ventures and they are leading with their own aspirations. Then there are people who are aspiring to do so. So there was a McKinsey report which suggested that in 2016, almost 32,000 Indian ventures were formed, and there were 32,000 entrepreneurs who entered the market. But currently, as we are speaking, there are only 1,600 businesses who have survived. That means in the course of 4 to 5 years, either they have dissolved because of wrong mentorship, or they didn't have the idea on how to proceed with the entire planning. So the idea of this club is to connect or to form a very close-knitted network of such people who want to do something and they are seeking guidance likewise, right? So I would be sharing my screen. I have a small presentation made for you. This is basically for our audience to know you both better. So just jump.
Thank you, ma'am.
So is my screen visible?
Yeah, ma'am. Very much.
So Prashant and Siddharth, I am very much elated to welcome you both on board with this Early Birds Club, and you are going to help a great.
It's our pleasure.
Yes, and you are going to help a great lot of people out there who are actually looking for guidance. All the questions which have been put forth for this interview are basically from the research which we have done, and some background questions and background checks which students wanted to know while they are following their aspiration and career path. So as we start with the interview, I welcome you, Rakesh, on board. And I got to know about, I had done a bit of research also about you. And I got to know that you are the co-founder and managing partner for Greennovators India, Chennai. And I would like to know more about this. While we are in the entire conversation about your company, I would be knowing a lot of things regarding what has been your journey like. So I know that you are right now heading R&D and production and client hunting. So that means you have also been in connection with many people who know about your organization and who are your client base, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely, that's right.
yes. So and we also have here Siddharth Mehta. He is also the co-founder and managing partner for Greennovators India. And you are taking care, Siddharth, all the operational, you are in charge of all the operational strategies and the working of day-to-day services to the client. So I am happy to have you on board here because we'll be talking a lot of changes which have taken in the career path of operational activities and operational sector as we talk about. So Siddharth and Rakesh. So my first question is to Rakesh because I had seen that you have worked with a lot of MNCs. I would like to know that what has been your experience when you talk about a fairly good startup culture, which has to be maintained to survive in this race.
See, one key thing when it comes to any business for that matter, let it be a startup or let it be an MNC. See, even MNC was a startup some time back, right? Eventually, they grew up to become an MNC. The five key things that you have to capture when or keep in your mind when you start any business for that matter. I call them as 5C, like Siddharth might agree with me. We call it as 5C. So we start with the courage.
Absolutely.
That is the first step you have to take. That yes, I want to do something. That is the courage you want to take. You break the ice and you come out, take the first step. That's the courage we are talking about. Next is connect. Connect is very, very important. When I mean connect, it is networking. Even if you're not started the business, the networking is very important. You have people across the country, you have people across the globe. Build your network, because some or the other point of your lifetime or during your business cycle, you will be helping them or they will be helping you around. So connect is the second C I'm talking about. Third one is collaboration. Collaborative. You have to be very collaborative. Reason is the entire business infrastructure has changed now. It is no more monopoly. There are multiple players in the market, right? And even the big giants are looking forward into joint ventures. They are not like doing everything by themselves. They are combining, they are collaborating. The recent ones, if you have seen today's news, is Qualcomm is they are investing money and collaborating with them. So the collaboration part is very important for the business. The third one is cost effectiveness. When I say making cheap products or cost economic products, no. What I mean is you're spending. Most of the startups face this issue. They get the seed funding or they get enough money out of one of their projects they generate. They tend to spend a lot of it, having a large office, having fancy things, going out partying and other things, which is not something you can start immediately once you have started the business. Not at least even for 3 years until and unless you have a real need for it, right? So you have to be cost effective. And we live in a country where people are cost sensitive. You do whatever the cost is really attached to. So we have to be very cost efficient in that. The fifth C I'm talking about is consistency, right? You have an idea, you take it into the market, you learn a lot, you will achieve few things, you will lose few things, but you cannot give up on that. Because if that idea is very important to you, you will keep on moving. You will be consistent in doing what you're doing. So this is the key 5 mantras, the C's, I call it as, which is very important. And over the years working with various startups, this is something I have learned. And as you begin in the early stages of your business, you might have to do everything that is required for it. It's not just, okay, I have founded the company, I'll be just doing this part of the business. You have to be really agile in what you're doing. You have to do each and everything. Even if you have to sweep the office, you have to do it.
Right. So it won't be wrong that it goes by a saying that you have to be all over the place, but you have to be mindful about it. Like you have to be concentrated in that particular job which you're doing at a particular moment while running an organization.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Presence of mind is important. Every single minute when you're at work or when you are not at work but still thinking about work, presence of mind is to be there.
Yes, true, very true. And I think that this will give a fairly good idea about all those aspirants who are thinking of starting up with something, whether it is with a low investment or bit of risk. But I know that when I meet students every day, I understand from the psychology that aspirations are too many these days. Like there are a lot of aspirations which are associated with the learning path of a child. Like at a very tender age, they want to become everything. But when they want to become everything, they are not mindful about that one particular thing where their professional goal lies. So I think that these 5C idea is a fantastic idea, and this is going to help a lot of students to understand that while deciding the career path, they need to be very much consistent. They need to be very much planned and not be everywhere out there, because otherwise they would be dissolved in the system and not reach the ultimate goal which they are planning to. So next question goes to Siddharth, because Siddharth is someone who is heading the operation for Grinovators. I would like to know, Siddharth, that when you lay down the business strategy to be in terms with day-to-day client services, how do you take in the ideas and critics? Are you very much open to critics? That means criticism from your clients. And do you experiment with those criticism?
Ma'am, really an interesting question. One of my favorite ones. We've been talking a lot during the lockdown when we are at home. We do have video calls or conference calls with our friends, our associates, our customers at times, our principals at times, and all of them. And this is one question which pops up in each and every discussion because everybody goes through this, and it is a must for a company's growth to go through this. A totally inevitable thing this is because only when you are is from your client, whether it is from your colleagues, whether it is from your juniors, whether it is from your vendors, whether it's from your principals. Only when you are open to ideas, you get to learn, you get to grow. And only when you listen to others and see, just like that, denying an idea or denying a criticism would not look good because some perception that they might have, you might not have. So each and every opinion, whether it is a criticism or an appreciation, is a really, it's like a stepping stone to success. I would say that because you might have considered that point, might not have considered that point. So yes, we do practice, as you said, randomness in our day-to-day activities, whether it is just financing or accounting or even researching. And why we have to practice this on a regular basis is because we have to keep ourselves updated. Though we miss out on a headlines probably for a week, there might be some technical or a technological update in our field because being an engineering grad, we have to keep ourselves very much updated with the trends in our technology. And this we can gather not only by internet, but even while talking to people and by criticism as well. So yes, we do practice it and we are open to ideas and criticism all the time. It's one way of learning and growing as well.
True, that's a very good thing to know because as we know that there are many industries and there are many sectors these days who don't want to experiment because they fear that we would be missed out in the market, or they fear that they're afraid to
Yes,
experiment because they think that their product might be a failure. But then when you don't experiment, you don't have chances to explore also certain areas of your venture which you can
exactly,
explore,
exactly.
right? So, from this question
And
only,
at times, taking
Siddharth, am I audible to you?
Some network issue. Just a
Yes, yes. I suppose there is a network issue because I'm not able to see. He's not unmuted also. Okay, I'll come back to this question again, and I surely
sure.
want to hear Siddharth about his view because it's very interesting to know that someone who has been innovating and experimenting, they know a lot of pros and cons about that area. So, Rakesh, Siddharth,
Ma'am, I'm back. Can you hear me?
yes, yes, I'm back. If you want to, we can discuss back
I'm
on
so
the same.
sorry, ma'am.
No, no, it's perfectly fine. It's network glitch, and we are staying in a
Yeah,
world of
yeah.
uncertainty as Corona has taught us. So everything is uncertain. So yes, you were talking about like exploring and experimenting,
Right.
right?
So can I continue my point?
Yes, yes, sure, 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 Siddharth.
Yes, ma'am. I mean, the word that is popping up on our screen right now is strategy,
Right,
which is uh, which which is supposed to be the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning. Make a strategy not only for your day-to-day activities, but even for your monthly or weekly targets. And this strategy is going to be helped by our criticism again,
right.
because you have to keep modifying your strategy every now and then upon the feedback that you get from your customers or from your vendors.
And just adding on to Siddharth's point, we usually work with 2 to 3 different strategies. Just in case if one doesn't work, we have a agility to move to the different one. So strategy, like Siddharth said, is important, and having multiple is sometimes really good.
So you always need to keep a backup for your every plan. So there should be a plan B to a plan C. That's how things
Exactly.
should work. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So, Rakesh and Siddharth, so since we were talking about strategy and experimenting about our products and services, so there is a concept of divergence. This is basically a concept and a question which is more relative and to research-based theories. So, when we relate this theory with our day-to-day life, we have seen that. In our traditional methods, we were using emails to connect with people, and we used to share pictures, business plan, birthday invitations, everything over email. But now there have been a lot of more wider scope of services out there which have overlapped these the daily usage of email, or you can say these are the broader way to communicate. And when we talk about these platforms, these are Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp. So this is one such example. So when I talk about your organization, that is Grinovators, how do you feel that you have been successful in specializing your products and services, and how do you plan it? Do you plan it backwards from your need of the audience, or do you plan it forward? Like you think about the product and then you decide that what all different ways are there to implement this product.
It depends upon the project to project we take up. Certain projects we have to go forward, like we create a product and we take it into the market, understanding the pain points of the client. Okay, this client is having such an issue. That means there are multiple similar clients who are having the same issue. Let's address those issues. We create a product, we go to the client and say, hey, see what, you can use this. This is going to reduce your loss, and this is going to increase your benefits, reduce your time loss, everything. This is one approach we take, and parallelly also we take up the client requirements, especially this being one of our key business, wherein we take up clients requirements and customize their projects they require. So I would say it is a calculated business where 50-50 things happen. Sometimes you go to client and sometimes the client comes to you. The majority of time it is you going to the client, right? Because there are multiple other people standing towards your client with multiple solutions. Which is the best one that is going to suit to your client is when you know your client very well.
Right.
And as you build that relationship with your client, there would be a day when your client is going to come back to you saying, hey, you had solved this for me and solve this as well for me.
Right. So, Siddharth, when you
I would like to add one point here.
Yes, sure.
Since day one, see, we people are Banyas, okay? By Marwadis or Gujaratis, we people by blood are Banyas. We are all businessmen. And we've been taught from our granddads or fathers or our uncles or whatever. We've been following one thing since day one, and that is nothing but there are always 100 buyers but 300 sellers. So if you want business, you got to hunt for it. Sitting in one place, waiting for business, not working anymore. You always have to be on the go, on the run, keep hunting for business, and knocking on our regular customers also is one of the most important habits one has to follow now.
True.
Yes, and just taking, sorry to interrupt.
No, please.
Just taking further with the example what you have given to us, the Facebook, LinkedIn, WhatsApp, and multiple other social medias, because we were able to connect with clients not just from the country but globally, and also some of our connects are available in other countries also. For example, we have few people in Canada, few people in UAE, few people in XYZ country. We get to know what is that going exactly right now in those countries. Will that be helpful here? Or is there any projects that we can work for clients in those countries also? So that way, even these technologies have really helped us and also keeps us updated for the next step.
Yes. So it would be true to say here that it would be true to implicate here that divergence, or you can say specialization, actually works as an important accelerator. And when you talk about specialization, you get a chance to experiment also, and you also get a chance to know better about the upcoming trends, because then you would be doing a lot of research to specialize about a product. So when you do
Correct. See,
research, you are
when
updated.
if I have to talk more about the divergence, see, I can also relate it to the inspiration. If I'm looking for an inspiration in one, just in one line of thing, or in one particular person, I might be limiting my inspiration. But if I see as such the nature itself is been inspiring us in doing multiple things. So being divergent, there are, we never thought one product which is used today was used somewhere else, right? So for example, the material used for the building of rockets is today made utilized in some other industry as well. So until I'm not diverse enough to look into things various places, it is going to be really difficult for us.
True, true. Thank you so much. And I think this will give us a lot of insight into how products actually evolve in a system. Like when we are
Correct.
starting up with the idea, what is the direction which we should be headed to make
Exactly.
sure that the product we are implementing in the market for the audience is well researched and it is well specialized with all the upcoming trends. So, going forward, I would like to know more about since many people are coming in this startup race. When I started this venture, Early Birds Club, I was talking about a lot of incubators and market consultants who were there out there to help inventions. You invent an idea and to put a idea in the market. So I want to know that what is the story behind your venture, that is Grinovators India, and when could you tell that you were ready to launch this company?
Absolutely. Renovators India was like something, me and Siddharth, we know each other for past 12 to 13 years now. And we had studied a lot of engineering, and we thought, okay, we have learned something. It's time to utilize it somewhere. And also we were part of, even today we are part of an NGO called Bhumi, wherein we expanded our connections and we interacted with multiple people. We also meet students, we teach there to the kids and people. That gave us one inspiration, that our idea, okay, we should do something. We should put our education to use somewhere. It cannot be just for the degree purpose. I went to the college, I got a degree, I forget it. I have to put it into utilization somewhere. And that's about where we're going. And we got an opportunity from one of our client, who is our client today. Earlier it was a connection, or someone I connected over a conference. So later on in the stage, after years, he got to know that I'm still in Chennai, because I was doing a lot of traveling between uh, Mumbai and Chennai. Was to and fro was a lot for me. So he came to know I'm in Chennai, and he approached us asking, there's one such project, would you guys like to do it? I said, absolutely, yeah. And we had nothing in place. We didn't have Renovators registered as a company. It was just an idea that was discussed to us. And we thought, yes, we should take it up. This is the beginning. So we took up the idea.
I still remember this. I mean, sorry to interrupt you. I was too excited to answer this question. I still remember this was just a rough chit chat that we were having over a cup of tea, and this turned out to be an idea.
So
Siddharth, I'm very well
With one of
amazed.
our Bhumi friends. I mean, Bhumi is an NGO that we are still a part of. So it was just a normal chit chat we were having over a cup of tea and a sandwich. And that's when this idea came up, and then we took it up seriously and started working towards it.
So,
Yeah, Rakesh,
Siddharth
go
and
ahead. I
Rakesh,
wanted to
uh,
just
yes, no, no.
add this point.
Actually, this also reminds me that when me and Saikat we were talking about our aspirations, we could connect on this one trend which we were seeing in the market, that there are a lot of ideas out there, but no way. Either someone has a constraint of finances, or either someone is bound by his educational background, that they're not able to implement it in the current correct way. But then we see a very good startup venture who launched that same idea with a huge investment, and it's a mega success out there. So we thought, why not help small businesses grow? So we can do something for them, we can connect them together, so that they are able to provide their startup ideas as a service to others. Because there are a lot of people who have a great idea, but they don't have the right clientele for it, or they don't have the efforts to put in for the right clientele to search for. So this idea was also basically over a cup of tea only. So when you said that you were discussing it over a cup of tea, I think
Wow,
a cup of tea has witnessed a
amazing
lot of
coincidence.
ideas throughout India.
Absolutely.
So I would
Exactly.
like to know that
चाय पे बहुत कुछ हो सकता है.
yes, चाय पे चर्चा से बहुत कुछ हो सकता है. And I also want to know that when you thought that did some pilot project with your entire idea, or was there a direct launch for it? Did you
We did a
experimented it?
pilot project. No, we did start with a pilot project. We spoke to the client. Then once the project was all in papers, it was time to take it into reality. And to do that, it was clear that we are just two people here, no financial support like every other startup has these issues. That's when our connections helped us a lot. I went back to people who I have worked with. I know their skill sets which can be put into use right now into taking up this project. And similarly, Siddharth had his group of contacts who had a different level of skill sets which can be put into use here. We collaborated with them. We spoke to them. See, boss, this is something that we are working on. We would like you to be a working partner with us. We are not ready to pay immediately. Once the project is successful, it is going to be a sharing method. So that way, what happened is we gave a part of the company to those people, giving that ownership to them and building that partnership with them. That's when the changes started happening. We had a person working dedicatedly in the mechanical field for us, one person working completely in the program side for it, me working on the electronics part of it, Siddharth working on the mechanical parts of it and procuring things. And we went back to our vendors also, who again happens to be our well connected people. We showed that, see, boss, I have done this for you all these years. This is something that I'm asking now back from you. And he was really happy to do that because I'm giving him a business. Here I'm giving opportunity for people to show their skill sets. Now what happened? It was a win-win-win-win situation for everyone. So that's when we started. We ran a pilot project, and later on we scaled up to be a mass project across the Chennai city. We started with just one place in Chennai. We saw it's working good. Then we spread it across the city completely.
So it would be right to say here that we should first search in our contact only who can help, then go outside and
Yes,
ask for
absolutely.
help, right?
See, I go for outside given the situation or the scenario I am where I don't have finance. Okay, I cannot burn my pocket without any guarantee of returns immediately. But if I have a really good contact and who is as equally interested as I am, it's a win-win situation for both of us. You can take it forward truthfully, right?
True. Amazing, amazing journey you guys had. So, when you talk about, when we speak about not only your organization, but there are many small businesses who are still in the incubation period. So, they must be very skeptical or apprehensive about the implementation part, because every implementation, as you said, that you cannot burn your pocket without any guarantee of result, right? So this is a huge risk which comes or is associated with every implementation of any project in the world. So when we talk about project planning or operation, what is the right incubation period? How much should we hold ourselves before actually launching an idea? Should we be 100% sure that this is when we are 100% sure, or when we are 50-50 sure that this will work?
Siddharth, you want to answer this?
You start.
Okay. So what we felt is, or what we still believe is that when we are having an idea or a product, we cannot wait for the product to be completely matured and then take it into the market. Right? Because by then it is too late for us, because there are multiple other competitors doing same thing. As I am having an idea, one more person might be having the same idea. So what we feel is, even if the product is ready about 25 to 30%, I should at least try it out with a close group of people to understand what are the challenges that I might have when I'm going out full-fledged. We started with one place, we saw the results, we went to two more places. For example, even if I'm having a set of 100 people as my clients out there outside, I don't have to target all the 100 people. I'll target only one or maximum two people. So those two people will give me multiple feedbacks. I'll keep on working on those feedback and I'll keep on improvising my product. Then we go out targeting from 2 to 10 people. So anyway, I have taken my step ahead. I have improvised my product. I know now it is worth for taking to 10 people. So that's where we take these decisions step by step. And even for our expenditures, when it comes to operations, we don't see it to be spending all at one time. We see, okay, if this is the need right now, let's do it. And if there is multiple ways of doing the same thing in a cost-effective way, we would go with that rather than spending the entire money, right? So the period depends on how you experiment with what you're doing.
True, true. So that anything you would like to
This
add to
is
it?
where, yes, ma'am. You had asked me the first question regarding randomness and open to ideas and criticism, right? This is where it comes into picture. This is where we invite criticism before coming out with the finished product. As Rakesh said, 25% to 30% of the product जब ready हो जाता है, we target a group of people who are close enough to us, and may it be friends or relatives or known customers. We get honest, genuine feedbacks from them, improvise the product, and then try to enhance it again and have a worst case trial again, and then come out with the finished product. This is where criticism and openness becomes one of the most important factors to come out with a very good product.
That's an amazing relative thought which you formed. This is like a feedback loop. Like
No, this is
from
our
one
secret
question.
tool. Actually, this is our secret tool. We call this our secret tool. I mean, openness and criticism has become a secret tool for the last
Absolutely.
3 projects as of now, 4 projects. So, yes,
So
this is
it's
how we
good to
work.
know that you are open to thoughts. You are fairly welcoming all your clients on board to be a part of your project and to analyze it and give you constructive feedbacks. These are called all constructive feedbacks because somewhere or the other in your journey ahead, they are going to help you only to grow in a better way out. So thank you so much for answering this question because this also brings in a lot of thoughtfulness into this idea wherein I am able to make a more responsive approach towards my client. Thank you so much. And talking of the current situation, you are also putting up in Chennai, and I am sure that you have seen a lot of industry who are facing a lot of challenges wherein companies have put their employees on furlough, they are laying off people, or they are shutting their doors. I know few of educational industrial, though education market is doing very great right now and medical market likewise, but then there are many educational products which have been shut down overnight because of lack of resources or lack of revenue collection which happened during the wake of crisis at COVID-19. So when we talk about
Right.
this particular McKinsey report, recent report, which suggested that there are many struggle of small sectors which are restaurants, manufacturing, and retail, which are going to take a very long time to recover. So, what have been your struggles? Have you faced any struggles? And if there has been any struggle, what has been your key learning out of it?
See, absolutely, we do have our own struggles. Like any other manufacturer or any system integrator is having, we are also facing the same thing. One major thing that we are facing is the logistics, because few of our vendors are from across the country, and people have to ship their raw material to us from various parts, and we are facing a lot many issues when it comes to logistics. So one good learning that we had earlier, which we had put into implementation now, was we were not dependent on just one person. For example, if I'm getting one product from Rajasthan today or one product from Kolkata today, I'm not just dependent on that one source to come to us. So what we did is, whenever we had time, we had tried to approach few more people who are into the same line of business or who can help us when it is required. So we had a backup, right? So that was a huge learning which we had put into implementation. And one more great learning was that, yes, things have stopped, but that doesn't mean you have to stop your work. As soon as we knew that manufacturing is not going to happen, things going to be shut down, that gave us an opportunity to explore something new which can be used for this current scenario. That's when we started working on few products like your sanitizer dispensers, or it could be tunnels, or it could be your disinfectant chambers, or it could be your UV box. All these products were something that we started working on, and God's grace, it has been good business right now during this. Though it is going to be a short-lived business for anyone who has invested in this, but still it has kept us going.
So,
And I would definitely agree. I would definitely agree with what Rakesh had to tell, because this was one way where we could approach people even during the pandemic. Many people were not having jobs, of course. Many people did not have a lot of work in their hands to do. But this was one way where, I mean, this was one of the tools that we could use to approach people, to market not just a product, but our own company as well. People have now come to know what we are capable of, and people have really won, we won people's confidence that we are capable of doing something in a very short notice. What exactly is the need of the hour? We were able to really examine the market situation and then take it forward.
so it would be very rightful to say that you have found, opportunity in a crisis also, which is a very positive takeaway
Right.
for you, that you understood that how to be positive. Because I have seen in my, if I talk about my organization, so we are right now currently all working remotely, but then there is a lapse in productivity when we talk about it, even lapse in revenue collection, because schools are shut down, buildings are shut down, they are not working right now. But then there has been a very positive thing that we've got the chance to explore online learning for students. So it is a very amazing thing. Even I appreciate my CEO as well. His name is Sumit Mehta. He is the founder of Lead School. So he had also found a similar way of recognizing the market, what would be a value addition during these times. So I think that yes, though COVID-19 has brought with it a lot of struggle on the platter, but then we can also add a lot of silver lining to this while going forward. So thank
Yes.
you so much.
Yes.
And when we are currently talking about startups basically, or small business, uh, whether corona or not, whether COVID-19 or not, many businesses during the course of production or operations or implementation, they face a lot of they have incurring losses, because of either lack of strategic planning, or lack of productive ideas, or lack of experimentation. You can call it whatever, but there are many incurring losses. Even sometimes when we target a wrong audience, it also triggers losses. So what do you suggest to such people, that should they adapt to hold and build policy, that they should keep on working and building new strategies, or they should start working with a small capital with only limited amount of opportunities out there?
Ma'am, I would like to start off to answer this question of yours with one of the incidents that you had told us during the initial 2-3 minutes of our interview. You had told us that there are a lot of mindful people out there with a lot of aspirations, all one at a time, right? So I would like to add on. I mean, I would like to correlate this question of yours with that statement of yours, because किसी को भी idea, I mean, everybody will have ideas, a bunch of ideas, a mind full of ideas, thousands of ideas, agreed. But we all have to be realistic. We all have to prioritize our ideas, prioritize our thoughts, according to what is needed at that particular point of time, and then act towards it. Now, if I'm having an inevitable situation wherein I'm stuck with something, let it be related to logistics, let it be related to finance, let it be related to availability of raw material or availability of certain products which are really required to finish our product. We cannot just like that stop or sit with folded hands saying, no, this is not going to happen. Let us not go further. Let us divert our ideas and start working on something else. End of the day, to win clients' confidence, you have to take an extra mile if required. You have to really take that leap of faith in order to fulfill what he's asked from us. Because it's really required. Nowadays, there are a lot of projects which are being stuck because of various multiple reasons. And this is when clients are on the lookout for multiple sellers. As we said, we have plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D put in place to finish a project, right? Similarly, even a client would have vendor A, vendor B, vendor C, vendor D, vendor E. It is our duty or our responsibility to be the vendor A at all times.
Right. And when has it ever happened that with your products or everything that something has gone wrong? How have you countered your clients with it? That did you had a setback majorly, and you had to be answerable to your client. So did it make you gain the faith of client, or did it make you lose the client?
Yeah, I'd say this happens almost every time you do something new. Most of our projects are very customized projects. Okay, every project is different from the earlier one. It is not optional products that we have ready and we just go and sell it. We do have products like that, but most of our projects are customized. So when you are innovating or you are engineering something new, you're gonna have your own setbacks. And happens that because we make sure the client is also involved as much as we are involved into this, it is very easy for us to make or convince the client that, okay, this is what it is, but I'm ready to solve this. I know what it is and I know how to solve it. This has been really helpful for us. And how we did this is what we learned from the earlier projects what we have done, or not just with the projects from Greennovators, but also certain things in personal life also that we have learned. We have put into use here.
Right. Thank you so much, Rakesh and Siddharth. I'm so happy that I got this chance at the very last moment. It's very considerate of you to even come up and help us with your ideas and your insights. It's very we would be foremost grateful to you both. And I welcome you on board as a clubpreneur. I know we are a very new venture, but sooner or later, I think we are going to cross roads, and I would be talking to you about taking webinar sessions with our audiences who would like to hear more from you both. Hear more from you both, as in how your journey has been, what all have been your learning from your journey. So every insight is very useful, and every key takeaway is very useful for our audience out there. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope that very soon
to you, ma'am.
Very soon.
Sure. So just before I end this conversation, I have a small suggestion for all the viewers. You have an idea, take it up. Talk to people. If the idea is just going to be sitting inside the box, it is no use. So you have a purpose. There's a beautiful, Japanese book called Ikigai, which says the beautiful journey of happy and long life. And the book speaks a lot about the purpose in your life. And that idea, if that is the purpose of your life, work on it. Find ways to do it. That is gonna help you achieve that.
True. And I believe I have read Ikigai. So I always speak about that book because it's very close to my heart, because it speaks a lot from a personal point of view where we see ourselves growing. So it doesn't talk about society much, because we all are sitting in our homes, and we are all not in contact with the societal what are the societal outcomes which are going to be there. But then when you are inside your room, you will have a lot of idea overnight, day in and day out. I tell my students also across India, whenever I take sessions with parents, I tell them that there is a spark which needs an ignition, and that ignition can be anything. It can be a conversation with a friend over a cup of tea. It can be a thought which you told someone and someone just appreciated your thought, and you thought that, because when you meet students, basically a student who is trying to learn a dance form, just for example, when you tell them that you dance so beautifully, why don't you go into DID? Suddenly all of a sudden the bubble would break, and that child would be thinking about going to DID. Actually, he or she would be exploring ideas. So that is the ignition.
Encouragement is powerful than suggestion. I believe in that. You encourage a person with his ideas, it's going to take him long way, rather than just suggesting him do this or do that.
True.
Because eventually he's going to learn out of his line of learning.
True. So thank you so much. I would be soon posting this video on our website, and I would posting it on all our channels. We have a media partner called Incredible India, where we have currently 3 lakhs of audience who are waiting for our reviews and videos. And I'm sure all the comments which would be coming in asking you both more questions, I would make sure that I compile all those questions and I would forward to you both for you to answer. And if we have a good collection of questions, I would make sure that we do a webinar about it, and I would let you tell your story on an open platform.
That will be very glad to help more in minds like us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Siddharth and Rakesh.
Thanks a lot.
And I hope you both have a very good night and a very good start to your week tomorrow. So I wish you all the best on your journey.
Absolutely. Looking forward to tomorrow.
Yeah. And
thank
see
you.
both
I wish you the
soon.
same.
See you
Sure.
Take care.
Sure.
Bye-bye.
You stay safe and good night.